Hey everyone, it's been day 12 of our Red Letter Challenge. Today's focus was on the Sabbath. And if you look out the window right there, I'm recording this on Friday night, the start of the Sabbath day. I want to thank my brother Sean, who posted that video and what such eloquently shared the truth of the Sabbath. You know, I loved so many of the aspects that author Zach Zender mentioned in the book about what the Sabbath was and how it got distorted and disfigured, and it became legalistic, and it became about a bunch of rules of do's and don'ts, and the Sabbath became a burden instead of a blessing. And Jesus came to redeem what he created. Remember, Jesus, the Bible says in John chapter 1, says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And nothing that was made outside of the Word. The Word, Jesus, made it all, including that Sabbath day on that creation week. It was his creation. He didn't like to see what had happened to it, and so he came to redeem it. And so I'm just, so blessed to know this wonderful truth that God set aside a date every week to be with me. I don't know about you, I always look forward to dates with my wife. When we were dating all the time, I always be looking forward to that. And honestly, now that we have kids and life is so hectic and so crazy, look forward to our date nights even more. And yeah, we need to have a lot more than we have. Well, guess what? God has set a special date that said he blessed, he sanctified, he made holy. And the reason it's holy is not about all the do's and don'ts. It's because when we spend time with him, he's a holy God. And so that time becomes holy. And so, yeah, there's things that we do in the holy presence of God. And there's things that we don't in the holy presence of God. And the most important thing isn't about the doing. It's about being with him on his day, at his time, on his Sabbath. And so I hope you guys are going to have a really blessed Sabbath day. I encourage you, take time to just spend with him. Disconnect, swipe off the social media, turn off those TVs, maybe those whatever books or magazines you might have been reading throughout the week, unless it was good Christian stuff, of course. Maybe turn on some nice Christian music. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. My kids are already listening to some inspirational Christian music. Both of them are a little bit sick and under the weather, but usually we have a special Sabbath dinners, something to look forward to, a nice extra long worship with the family on the Sabbath. Again, something to make it special. But they're all connected with appreciating our Creator God and what he's created for us. So this Sabbath, maybe it's your first Sabbath that you're going to be celebrating. Maybe you've just discovered this wonderful truth. Well, I pray that you experience the fullness of God's love on his day with you. One of the things that the author, I think, got off track of the red letters of Jesus and his words for us was when he said that, pick a day, any day, it's okay. And he quoted, that verse that by Paul that said, one day is to one man, another day is to another, but that wasn't really referring to the Sabbath. In fact, when you read the rest of that chapter, he talks about don't let people judge you on your food you eat and things like that. So he's not talking about the law of God. He's not talking about something that God set in motion before there was even sin at creation. He's not talking about the 10 Commandments, because obviously no one has issue with any of the other 10 Commandments, right? Like putting any other God before him, or murdering, or stealing, or any of those things. No one should have issue with the Sabbath to remember the Sabbath day, because it's the one that everyone forgot. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days, do all your work, but the seventh day, not any other day, not the 6th, the 4th, the 3rd, not the 1st, the 7th day. God blessed it, sanctified it, made it holy. Remember that 7th day and enjoy that time with God, your blessed day with him. I think I can best explain it with my experience with the Sabbath. I was born and raised Seventh-day Adventist, but let me tell you, growing up, I hated the Sabbath. I never look forward to it. All of a sudden, I had to turn off the TV. I had to stop playing. I couldn't go out to like the games and stuff with like all my friends. I couldn't join teams at school. Not that I would have made the cut, but maybe. But I couldn't do any of those things because there was always Saturday morning. And the Saturday morning cartoons, I don't know if you kids even know what that was like. All the best cartoons were on Saturday morning. But because it was a day that we're supposed to be spending with God, a day that we went to church, a day that we'd keep holy even when we came back, and to not connect with the things of this world, I didn't get to watch TV and do all those things. I used to hate the Sabbath. I used to dread Friday nights, and I could not wait until it was over. I mean, it was like my shoes were on, jacket was on, my hand was on the handle of the door, waiting to leave once the Sabbath was over so I could go and do all the things that I wanted to do. Well, I had it all wrong because, again, the Sabbath was, to me, about a bunch of do's and don'ts and not about being with this God who literally set aside an entire day every week and said, I'm blessing this day, not any other, this day to spend with you. And I don't want you to ever forget what I'm calling you to do and the day I'm calling you to do it. So I'm telling you, remember the Sabbath day to spend it with me. Well, as I got older, I've discovered the beauty of the Sabbath. And now I look forward to it. I look forward to disconnecting. You know, there's no one, not even a boss, nobody. This is before I became a pastor. Nobody, even when I remember a job, they were literally applying for a contract that if they would have lost, the whole company would have gone under. But guess what? They wouldn't ask me, not on that day, because they knew it was my Sabbath day, a day to spend with God, trusting in Him that whatever I did and do, He would do for me. It was a day where I could completely disconnect from everything in this life and in this world except God and all that He has blessed me with, like my family and friends, like going out to serve those in need, like our food banks and other things. The Sabbath became a total blessing, and now I look forward to it. And I look forward to it not just because of the do's and don'ts, because it's easy to look forward to not working. Believe me, no homework, no housework, no work. I look forward to it because I get to spend special time with God and experience His presence in a special way. I'm so glad that He didn't give me the option or choice to choose a Sabbath of my own making, because my agenda is so packed that I know, and I know most of you are probably going to be like me, where we would fill and crowd out our agendas and maybe give Him leftover time. But since He set aside an entire day that was unchangeable, I don't have a choice but to spend the best time of the week with Him every week, from Friday night to Saturday night. And so I hope this Sabbath is not just about do's and don'ts for you. I hope this Sabbath you truly experience God's presence in your life, maybe for the very first time, as He blesses you on His blessed day. Be sanctified in His presence this Sabbath. Wishing you a blessed and wonderful Sabbath, and looking forward to worshiping and celebrating on a Sabbath with you tomorrow at Living Water. Can't wait to see you then.